To the Fedex St. Jude Classic 2023 DFS DraftKings preview. DB here, Pat Perry with me. It's a Monday afternoon. We're talking about the first event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. We have a great show. We're going to talk about each range. We're going to talk about our picks, maybe where the chalk could be, some steam catchers, some pivots, some strategery. We've also got a huge contest to announce. For those of you that have already seen the betting show, you might already know. You probably already know about this contest, but big old contest that you are not going to want to miss. That announcement coming here in just a few minutes. I'm honoring Lucas Glover again, Pat. I did change the hat, shirt, but
little sideways action, little cockeyed,
little cockeyed. I wonder if he's a lefty, like dominantly, because don't lefties tend to do that? Aren't you a lefty?
I am a lefty. Is mine cockeyed a little bit?
Yours is always usually pretty straight.
Yeah.
That's probably your OCD tendencies, but
Yeah.
don't a lot of lefties like kind of tend to do that?
I don't know. I've never heard that before.
Oh, I thought that was a thing.
Maybe it is.
We talked about Lucas on the show a good bit. We talked about him last week, did a whole Instagram video about his miscut at the 3M Open and why that doesn't tell the whole story and why you need to dig in on stats and realize what happened and probably hop back on the Lucas Glover train. Was he on my betting card? No. Your betting card? No.
No.
I did have him in some DFS, but I had him with some bad other bad decisions. Right off the bat, let's talk about some of the DFS results from the Wyndham. Just kind of a little post-mortem here. You only had about 5 to 6% of DFS lineups get 6-6 through the cut at the Wyndham. Obviously, Denny McCarthy and Alex Smalley tanking a ton of lineups. Denny was around 45% owned in the $555 contest. So if you think the Sharps were, not playing Denny, you're wrong. At least the people with more money to enter bigger contests definitely played Denny McCarthy. He felt drastically underpriced, and people just bid on it. Your perfect lineup would have only spent about $47,800 of your $50,000 salary cap allotment. It would have scored 693 points at around 58% total ownership, and you would have had Lucas Glover, Ben On, Russell Henley, Billy Horschel, Webb Simpson. Do you remember me saying Webb Simpson last week was like I had a little feeling about it?
Yeah, I do.
I didn't play any of them, but I had a little feeling on Monday.
Yeah.
And Michael Kemp. So you would have had a 10K guy in there, Henley. Henley was really the only 10K guy that paid off his price whatsoever. An 8K player, 3 7s, and a 6. What else do I want to say here?
Out of curiosity, where did Troy Merritt finish?
Troy Merritt, yeah. So our 6K draft, which we'll do later, our 6K draft did good in terms of getting guys through the cut. We got 4 of 6 through the cut, but no real top performers. In fact, Merritt was the worst of the 4 that made the cut at 58th. Dylan Wu finished 51st. Peter Quest finished 45th. And Tyler Duncan finished 38th. Our boy Doc Redman and Justin Lauer missed the cut. Anyway, 4 of the top 10 highest owned players returned value, with another 4 missing the cut. So in terms of the chalk, it was kind of boom or bust. Obviously, Denny, Alex Smalley being on that bust side of things. So there you go. That's a little bit of DFS recap on the Wyndham. It's a fun tournament. We talked about the top 70 number, but let's move on. Let's move on. Shout out to our very own, our Discord Nut Hut. Our Discord's very own Eric Cole. We have Eric Cole in our Discord.
Yeah.
He's a great member of the community, but also a great DFS player. Took down a nice little, I think it was a showdown contest. Beat McLovin out of first place to win 20 grand. Very nice.
He was lamenting Billy Horschel not making any birdies on Sunday, and then Billy finally comes through for him and makes that birdie on the 18th hole. And I think that won it for him. So, at least Horschel won something for somebody.
Not me. Didn't win anything for me. God dang it. Oh, yeah. Listener League. Pat.
Yeah.
The Listener League finals are this week. Some lucky winner is going to get a weekend experience with me and you in either Augusta or Savannah, playing some golf, having some food, some beers, having a good time. This is probably it's like the 4th time we've done this. It's had a great time every single year, but you have to be a member of the Nut Hut, of the Discord. throughout the year to be able to contend in this. And you need to give us an update because this is the final week. So we're going to crown a winner this week.
Yeah. So basically, this is the final week, and the top 20 basically are still in it this week. So the top 20 advance into. I mean, it's kind of about a 5 to 6 man race, but still, everybody has a mathematical chance in the top 20. So, we're getting down to the last week. Do you need an update on, do you want any listeners that are in the standings there, or you just want just me to tell that this is the final?
Just so you say it's only about a 5 or 6 man race.
Yeah.
Just real quick, throw out the screen name so they know they're in it.
All right, so here we go. These are the top 5. We'll go with the top 5, okay? AK, our boy Alan Collette's AK.
Author of the Power Fade.
Yeah, is up there at number 1.
I believe had Denny McCarthy on it last week.
Yeah. J.E. Sayer.
John Sayer. Absolute props god in the Discord. If you just go in there and tail J.E. Sayer in the Discord props, you make all your money. Okay.
OB1 Bomber.
Don't know who that is. Okay.
You do. I think he goes by Party. Partee.
Oh yeah.
In the Nut Hut.
Yeah, I just looked. AK had Smalley and Denny as the 2 fades in the Power Fade article last week.
Yeah, he had a great article. S Rogers 0324.
Okay.
Helps out, by the way, with the listener league. So he's up there. And then
could be cooking the books. Don't know. Could be cooking the books.
Yeah, I mean, Tar Heels for real. Is in 5th. And you know what? I gotta give 6 a shout out. Our boy Marscus. Our buddy Marscus is in 6th place.
Lady Marcus?
Yes, he is almost 160 points behind. But you never know. I mean, if you throw out a clunker of a lineup, like a 106, well, everybody's gonna make the cut. But you know what I mean? Like
that's the thing. It's gonna be hard to to catch up to the guys at the very top because of everybody's getting 6 of 6. You got to hope and pray that they play somebody and that person withdraws.
Yeah. So
if I were in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th spot, I might try to find a way to get to Memphis and give some guys some slip something in their drink.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna come. I mean, I believe our boy AK has a 60-point lead, so it's going to be hard to come out.
Wow.
It's going to be hard to overcome that. But
wow,
look, I mean, it's golf. It's kind of like golf, Things you could choke. You could choke. You could get a little too nervous, overthink things.
Yeah,
just put out a terrible lineup, like all guys that finish in 53rd place.
Yeah. It's going to be tough to do. We'll update and announce the winner on next week's show. Speaking of next week, it's the BMW Championship, the second event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. The top 50 after this week are going to move on to play at Olympia Fields outside of Chicago. Your boy DB gets to go. Pat, unfortunately, we tried, but Pat has a real job, so he can't travel. But working with the PGA Tour and DraftKings Sportsbook in Chicago next week, I'll be there. If you're there on Tuesday or Wednesday, that's awesome. Maybe we'll see each other Tuesday morning doing a piece of content with DraftKings Sportsbook in the Tour at the DK bar right outside of Wrigley Field. And then we're driving up to Olympia to do some more content. Would love it if you would support that content. Like it, engage with it, share it, retweet it, read whatever. Engage with that content because it obviously helps us, looks great on us. But also, if the PGA Tour is going to spend money, and they are, on betting content and gaming content, then it helps if that audience gives them some feedback by engaging in it and sharing it and saying, yes, we like this, we want this, lean into it some more. If it's crickets, they're less likely to do it. So we need to positively reinforce the Tour and DK for doing this in the middle of August when all everybody can think about is football. So that'll be fun. Think we're going to I'll be on both shows next week. We'll handle it. There might be a slight change up in Wednesdays. Lunchtime and Wednesday night chat. I'll be traveling back that day, but I will be on the course all day Wednesday as media as well, and Tuesday. And I'll be sending in some goodies, some nuggies into the Discord. You better believe it. But I just may not be able to be on the chat. So with that, Pat, let's get into the FedEx St. Jude Classic. TPC Southwind. We talked a little bit about the golf course on the betting show, so won't get into it too much. I guess what you need to know is we do have plenty of history here. We've been playing at Southwind for a long time. In terms of recent history, last year was the first year it was played here as a FedEx Cup playoff event, but it was top 125, and there was a cut. Will Zalatoris beat Sepp Straka in a playoff. Obviously, Willie Z is still recovering from injury.
Mm-hmm.
The previous 3 years, it was a WGC event, so a lot like this one, top 70 to 75 kind of players, strong field, no cut. Abraham Answer beat Sam Burns and Hideki Matsuyama in 2021. Justin Thomas, RIP for the playoffs, won in 2020. And Brooks Koepka won in 2019. 2018 and beyond, it was kind of the St. Jude Classic. It was a full field event with a cut. DJ won in 2018. Daniel Berger won in 2017 and 16. So par 70, about 7,400 yards, kind of an interesting course. I read a quote on the betting show, and I put more player quotes in the Discord today. Seems like a place where a lot of different players can win. So some things to think about before we get into picks and kind of the ranges. Obviously, 70 players and no cut means you have potential for duplicate lineups. You could be, the margins might be even smaller than they normally are if nobody withdraws and everybody's got 6 golfers playing all through the week. So be smart with that. Don't make too many lineups that you think are probably easily duped. A good way to do that is make sure you leave a substantial, I would say a more substantial amount of money on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, every week we do these recaps, and 98 times out of 100, the perfect lineup, not necessarily the winning tournament lineup, but a perfect lineup did not spend all their cash. So, and with the strength of this field, you could definitely make a case to save $1,000, even $1,500, $2,000 if you're really doing a lot of contest entries, and it makes sense. What else, Pat? Talk a little bit more about lineup construction here, but I think that's a big one. Just remembering that leaving cash on the table is a good way to help differentiate yourself and leave a good bit of it. We'll talk more as we get through these ranges here. Top of the board. Let's take a look. Scotty Scheffler, Rory, Rahm, Hovland, Schauffele, 5 players above at 10K or above, including Scheffler getting up into the 12K range. And then you've got kind of Morikawa, Fleetwood, Spieth, Fowler, Hatton, Cantlay in the 9K range. I guess first off, let's take it piece by piece here. From Xander up to Scotty, I have a question. I'm going to include Cantlay here. I was kind of looking at this range, thinking about where might people go. And I think, who do you think is going to be this? I'm going to start off difficult here. Who do you think is going to be the lowest owned between Victor Hovland, Xander Schauffele, and Patrick Cantlay, those 3? Because now overall, I think in this 9K range, maybe with the exception of one player we'll get to in a minute, I think overall we're going to see kind of like we saw last week, where like everybody was kind of something owned. It wasn't. There was a few like over 20 into the 25% range in that upper tier, but everybody was getting at least like that 13 to 14, 15% look. There wasn't anybody like really overlooked. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be some play there, but I think, John Rahm is going to be a popular play. He's got a good track record here at TPC Southwind. We saw him play well at the Open Championship. He's $1,000 less than Scotty Scheffler. People love playing Rory and Scotty at the same time. So like those 3 are obviously going to get some looks, which makes me wonder if that little group of 3 might be a little passed over, but which one's going to be the most ignored between Hovland, Cantlay, and Schauffele?
I kind of feel like this is a difficult one because my gut feeling is Schauffele. It's my gut.
I was actually kind of thinking the same thing. If it were Eastlake, it would not be Schauffele.
No. I mean, and Schauffele hasn't been, terrible here either. I mean, he's got a decent, top 10 a few years ago. His recent results aren't fantastic. I just feel like Cantlay despite missing this cut at the Scottish and not having a great Open Championship, I feel like he's going to have a little more ownership, getting a little bit cheaper price there. And I'm a big fan of Hovland this week too, but I think he's going to be a little bit more chalkier than Schauffele. So I'll go Xander there.
Yeah, I think Cantlay might turn people on with that total driving. Just how accurate he is with the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Xander's inaccurate necessarily, but Cantlay just really hits a ton of fairways with the driver. And still hits it long enough. You got to really play from the fairway at TPC Southwind, that's for sure. So I could kind of see that happening. Neither him nor Schauffele like tremendous records here. I guess Schauffele has him edged a little bit with a slightly better finish at 6th at the 2020 WGC event. Cantlay with a 12th in 2019. So that the history is kind of the same. It looks very much the same. And with no cut, I do feel like Cantlay is more likely to have a high upside finish. But yeah, I kind of agree there. Rahm is kind of my favorite above them, as I think he might be for a lot of folks. I don't think he's going to be owned by too much more than Rory or Scotty, but I like the $1,000 savings from Scotty. Obviously, the question marks with Scotty's the putter, and at 12-1 in a stacked field, I would rather you not have that many question marks if I'm playing you up here. It is interesting too that we've not seen anybody in the 9K range since the Open Championship, so it's been a couple weeks. It's been a few weeks, and all these guys are pretty much solidified. Maybe with the exception of like Spieth and Fleetwood, I believe, they're all pretty solidified in the top 30. Which doesn't mean they can't move backwards, but they're not highly likely to fall out of it, even with a bad week.
No, I wouldn't think so. What are you doing with Rory?
I will probably ignore Rory. As I usually do.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I usually do. I don't love him on like hyper Bermuda tracks, even though listen, he's Rory. I mean, he's played well at almost every course ever since he's been on tour. So I'm sure somebody will be like, well, what about the players or whatever? But just historically, I think his baseline's probably worse with Bermuda. I don't know. I can look at that, I guess, now on Fantasy National. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the lowest surface that he's got. I'd just rather play Rahm. I think I'm probably only going to play one of those guys.
Yeah, I think for me too. I'm with you here. I would rather play Rahm. I think he's probably going to have a little bit lower ownership too than Rory, and I feel like Rory has said that the FedEx Cup is his major.
Okay,
not really. I don't think he really said that.
I don't think he does either.
But
he does
winning. Huh?
He does like winning them.
He does. He loves winning them, and I feel like there's going to be a time to maybe throw him in your lineup in these next few weeks. But I'm gonna avoid him. I think this week. I'm sure in the next couple of weeks I'll probably have some of them. Sure. I really like though. Cantlay up here. I like Rahm too. Before we get into the lower end of this range.
So let's talk through the lower end with Cantlay, Hatton, Fowler, Spieth, Tommy Ladd, Colin Morikawa. I almost think that there's a few names down at the bottom. I don't love the 6K range definitely has some players. I could see myself having more of a core in the 8K, 7K range and just having a good sprinkle of everybody from Hatton to Morikawa.
Yeah.
I think Spieth is the lowest owned player here come Wednesday night projections.
Yeah.
In the 9K and above range. Only because, I guess you could argue form is probably worse. Maybe you could argue Morikawa possibly, but 2 missed cuts each in their last few events. Spieth's been a little erratic. T23 at the Open. I just his record here is okay. It's not incredible either when you consider no cut events, WGC stuff. I think Spieth's going to be the one pivot opportunity, and I will take it. I'll bite him.
I don't mind it either. I don't mind it either at all.
But I mean, it's like I said, I don't think he's going to be like 4%. It's not going to be like that. I bet he's still 10. But I just think 9K and above, he's probably the lowest owned player in the whole section. But everybody, especially from Hatton to Morikawa, I like them all.
Yeah, I agree.
At a course like Southland where you don't have to hit it a mile, it seems like a great spot for Colin Morikawa to take advantage of what he does best. Ricky's not super long anymore. It's just going to be interesting to see these guys after we haven't seen him for some, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What else in this range? I mean, I don't really want to talk cash games, so won't really get into cash with a 70-man no cut field. I don't think I'll play cash.
No, I mean, I'm kind of with you. I think Spieth is going to be a good play. Fleetwood to me just feels like he's just going to be way too chalky, and I feel like I want to go to Morikawa there. So I'm.
Do you think he'll be that much lower than Morikawa or higher than Morikawa?
I think he will be. Yeah.
I could see Morikawa getting plenty of love with just from a course fit standpoint, and his record here last 3 years is really solid. It's better than Fleetwood's.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be close.
Yeah, maybe close. I don't know.
As we get into the 8K range, could you see yourself having lineups where you play nobody from 9K or above? Or are you leaving too much?
Nah, I think you're leaving too much to do that.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
I got to say, I've already tinkered with it a little bit today with building lineups without anybody in there.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a way to differentiate yourself. And we also have seen some DFS contests this summer, where the winner was not in winning GPP lineups.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting. Before we get to the 8K range, though, let's talk about this amazing giveaway. Normally, we save this for the spring, January or February, and we may come back to it. I don't know. But, everybody got that email a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, probably rejecting you for Masters tickets. Well, the Tour Junkies have secured Masters tickets for Tuesday's practice round, and we would like to bring 2 of our friends, you, the listeners. We'd like to bring 2 of you. We're going to pick one person. You get to bring a friend so you feel comfy. Some people feel weird around Pat, so you get to bring a friend to make yourself feel more comfortable. But we're going to pick 2 people, a winner and a guest, to come to Augusta Tuesday of Masters Week, hang out with me and Pat. It's going to be fantastic. And all you have to do is one thing. Give our friends at SoBet a try. We've been talking about them for a while. They've been supporting us since April. SoBet is crushing it right now. It is the place to tail and educate yourself when it comes to sports betting. Every sport imaginable. They've got now I think they've got 43 handicappers on the site, all vetted. They're the only people that can post on SoBet, so you're not thumbing through a bunch of junk like on Twitter. And as I said, they are all vetted. So they've got some sort of track record. Transparency required with all picks. You got to give a reason for the picks. You got to give unit values for the picks. You got to be transparent when you win or lose. It is a fantastic platform. And even if you're not in a legal gambling state, you can still download the app, sign up, gain a lot of industry knowledge, a lot of information from the app, possibly use it other places. Totally up to you. Not saying one way or the other. Totally up to you. There's also some prop specialists on there. So in the event that you can get on Underdog or something, but you can't place a legal sports bet like you're in Georgia, you could totally still use SoBet for that. All you got to do is sign up for SoBet. That's it. And you're entered. At the end of this contest, which we're going to draw at the Zozo Championship in October. So you got some time, but you may as well get in now. We are going to draw from a list of any user that is signed up with our code and our link on SoBet. And we're going to draw a lucky winner to bring them and a guest to Augusta to hang out with me and Pat on Tuesday. I'm pumped about it. Masters is going to be here, hopefully before we know it. It feels like a way, but we got football to kind of get us through, Yeah. Anyway, football season is going to be hopping on SoBet too. They're supposed to have over 50 handicappers then by the time football launches in just a couple weeks. Plus, they're going to be contributing with us in the Discord on SoBet Saturdays. Every Saturday starting August 26th, they're going to send in a handicapper to help us break down the football slate for that weekend for Nut Hut members. So all you got to do, sign up for the SoBet app, download it. By the way, the app is going to hit the App Store this week. It just got approved. It's hitting the App Store this week, but the desktop website is live now. Click the link in the description. That'll take you to a sign-up page. It'll pre-fill our code TJ. And then you can choose your plan if you want monthly, 6 months, or a year. If you have that code, which you will, because you'll click the link, you get a discount for the 6-month and annual membership. And then at the end, when you go to checkout, if you want to try it for a month for free, you can type in TJ trial at the end when you check out, TJ trial. That's it. That's all I got to do. Sign up for SoBet. Don't have to do anything else. We'll pull your email in October. Maybe you're lucky enough to come hang out with us Tuesday in April. Beautiful. Big thanks to SoBet for that. You still there, Pat, or did you check out? You good? We're back. Pat,
Yeah,
we're back.
I'm here. I'm
Sure?
here. Yeah, I'm just looking down the board here.
Okay. 8K range. Why don't you start me off? What do you think? Thoughts?
8K range. Wow, there's a lot to think about here. I think Matty Fitz is going to be one of my favorites, even though I think he's going to definitely have some chalk.
Agree.
But I think Wyndham Clark actually could end up being a pretty good pivot play right off of Fitz, or you can just play them both. Play them both. I like Clark a lot this week. You know who I think is going to be very low owned and a sneaky good play is at the very top.
A Pat sneaky good play.
Sneaky good play.
Sneaky good play.
I knew you were going to say that. But Jason Day at 8,900.
Oh, I did not think you were going to say that.
Yeah. Day's got a pretty good historic history here.
Historic history? Wait a minute.
History.
My mind's about to explode.
Whoa!
He's a sneaky play with historic history here.
This is becoming a pretty excited about what I'm doing here with these words. These big words, Stevie. But that little second place at the Open Championship. I mean, you don't like Day? You're not.
I definitely thought that he was. I definitely thought he was going to get overlooked. I feel like I don't like the price compared to a lot of names below him. There's an awful lot of volatility with Jason Day.
Yeah.
But again, I maybe that's kind of a thing. In a no-cut event, you can really embrace that, right? Embrace the volatility to get different. There's really not an excuse to not have any players in your lineup that are just absolute, just not owned guys. Like you got to have, I mean, obviously every week you got to have them, but like this week, especially for you to pivot and roster a guy who's like 4 or 5% getting completely ignored in a no-cut event, they're obviously playing well enough this year to be here. So I think you could totally make that case. I agree with you that I think Fitzpatrick is going to be chalky. The record here is going to do a lot for people. Now, the form is a little questionable compared to some other guys in this range, but I don't think it's going to suppress it that much. I was thinking, and by the way, Wyndham Clark, I love Wyndham Clark. I think people are on to Wyndham Clark at this point. I mean, God, the guy's won twice.
Yeah,
He's won the Wells Fargo and USO.
Yeah.
I actually think Wyndham's going to get some love. I think Sam Burns is going to be a popular play. And I love Sam Burns this week. Talked about him on the betting show, but I will tell you this. Sam Burns is one of those players that I am happy to bet on Monday and get some great value on, which I've already done, 40-1, and am very fine ignoring if he is popular. Yeah. So that leaves a few names I think are interesting pivots. The first one I want to ask you about, Tony Finau, who not a great record to speak of here outside of his 5th place finish last year, gets us a T7 at the 3M at a golf course that he's won on before that definitely suits him probably a little better. I don't know, maybe a little better than TBC Southwind. But outside of that, we've not seen much out of Tony. But he's got to make some moves if he wants to make any sort of last minute Ryder Cup push. He's 10th in the FedEx Cup, so he's very likely going to find his way to Eastlake. I mean, he would have to really, I think, screw it up to not be at Eastlake. So he's going to get 3 shots at it to leave an impression so strong on Captain Zach Johnson to get to the Ryder Cup. I don't know that he's going to be able to do it. I think he's going to have to win.
Yeah.
To do it. But I do find him an interesting pivot because I don't know that a lot of people will play him.
I do think I have, when you just kind of run through this 8K range, that is, Finau is kind of one of those that just pops out at you as a guy that, could have some serious upside, has shown a little bit better form, like you said, at the 3M. So I'm with you there on him.
This is the range to me that I am very happy completely going away from chalk. I mean, even Fitzpatrick, same thing as Burns. Like, if Fitzpatrick's super chalk and Finau's half the ownership, I'll do it. Homa.
Yeah. Homa's another one. Homa's another one I was just about to bring up. I feel like, he's certainly going to be low, and he has zero steam, it feels like, behind him. So
my only concern with Homa is the Bermuda record. From just a putting standpoint. Like, if you look, even, let's see, like, he's not had a ton of success on Bermuda, but I mean, Homa, Cam Young is another one. I think all three of those players, Finau, Homa, Cam Young, could all get a little bit of suppressed ownership if Burns and Fitzpatrick and Wyndham eat it up.
Yeah.
Are you interested at all in Brian Harman? P3 here last year.
I know, and if it's another good spot for Harman. I mean, this is a great course for him. So I don't think you could just say I could sit here and say I'm completely uninterested.
I don't think people are going to want to play him.
I don't think they are either. It's the old thing, coming off of a major. I mean, it was not just coming off of a major like this is, Scotty Scheffler coming off of a major or John Rahm coming off of a major.
Right.
This is Brian Harman coming off of a major, where you're getting a hero's welcome back to Sea Island and whatever else. And you're, you do have a few more distractions that are going to take you a little bit away from, where things were kind of going up into the Open Championship, where he was playing well. So I think if I were looking at him, I don't know about him in DFS. Maybe if you're wanting to bet like a top 10 or something on an outright, but I don't know. Even then, just doesn't feel right. So
I am willing to play anyone in the 8K range, but the one that I'm least excited about is probably Jason Day.
Yeah, that's great.
Coming back to Jason Day, like maybe it's just the price too, relative to the names below him, but the 8K range for me is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And maybe, I don't know. All right. Anything else in the 8K range? Any other questions?
No, I think I'm good there.
Cam Young, by the way, 48th in the FedEx Cup. He's got to have a good week if he wants to advance.
Yeah, he does.
But he's starting to peak. He's had good finishes. John Deere Classic, Open Championship. Starting to do something. Maybe not peak. I mean, we saw him play much better last year. I mean, his 6th at the JDC is not amazing, but I'm sure left the 3M after another missed cut and said, I gotta get on my horse.
Yeah,
and we gotta take down TBC Southwind. So he's got some moves to make. All right, 7K range. Pat, before we get into this, did you know there is a fantasy football contest out there giving $3 million to the first place winner?
$3 million.
$3 million.
Okay.
They're giving $3 million to the winner of Best Ball Mania 4 over on Underdog.
Oh, Underdog. Yes.
Look at this thing, dude.
Do you think either one of us can win this?
No, absolutely not. This is the largest fantasy football contest ever. 15 million in prizes. It's already 58% full. NFL Best Ball. 3 million to first, $1 million to second. Good Lord. That is incredible. So get involved on the best ball side on Underdog, but also I was going to show people this. Let me do this. I was going to show people one of my teams. I'm excited because our friends at Underdog have started with, they're doing best ball for the FedEx Cup playoffs. So you can get in by Thursday and draft in the Pup Cup. So you just go to drafts, go to lobby, you go to Pup Cup, you'll see it. But this is one of my completed drafts I did last night, and it's my favorite team I've drafted so far, Pat.
Okay.
I was in the 2 spot. Wait a minute, was I in the 2 spot? Yeah, I was in the 2 spot. Scheffler went first. I went Rory. You might be surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
I went with a lot of upside here. I kind of reached on Fleetwood, Spieth, and Fitz based on their ADP, but I loved them, loved all 3 of them. Then we went Connors, Ben Poston, who's hot, Cam Davis, Steven Yeager, who's hot, Aaron Rye. Thoughts?
I think it's a solid lineup, top to bottom. I guess when you're thinking of strategy here, it's just trying to make sure you get as many through to the players as possible.
The players? You mean the Tour Championship?
I mean, the Tour Championship always.
I mean, obviously that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Yes, but I do think the more I do them, like obviously it's best ball, so like you want real upside in there. You want some, and plus the best ball. I was going to show the folks, like if you go to the lobby, you can click on Pup Cup. You can see 24,000 entrance, 150K in prizes. So it's about half full right now. $7 an entry, but the point structure is kind of like DraftKings on steroids, like 4 points for birdies, 10 for eagles, but it's much more penal if you screw up. You know, I mean, you get over a point for a par, but you lose more for a bogey than you gain for a par. You lose 3 on a double, 7 on a triple. So it's a little more penal than DK, but it still is rewarding your your scores.
Yeah.
So I have some other lineups where like I took like, and I think you have to think a little bit different too. Like with 27,000 entrants, and you got to advance all the way to the Tour Championship. And we know like somebody, it happens every year. Like somebody from the bottom list of the FedEx Cup is gonna make a run. There's gonna be some guys that make runs and go deeper into the playoffs. We could have a winner here at TPC South, and we've already said I feel like this is a golf course where a lot of different player types can win. We could have a winner come out of nowhere. So I think getting a little weird is interesting, especially if you're doing, is a must, especially if you're doing multiple drafts. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of these before Thursday. And I've already done 3 that are posted up on our YouTube channel now. They're 30 seconds a pick. They go by really fast. It takes like 15 minutes to draft a team. So I've done 3 live drafts on YouTube. If you guys want to check it out, you can watch that. I do have some Underdog credits to give away. So Underdog said that if anyone is not currently a member at Underdog and they use our link starting on Sunday or Saturday of last week, if you sign up using the link in the description, use promo code Junkies, you get 100% deposit match up to $100, and Underdog is going to draw a few people at random, and they're going to give you $25 in Underdog credit. You got to sign up between last Saturday and before the Pup Cup gets going on Thursday morning. So check that out. Oh, also, Pat, I was going to show the people this. Can we do a little football talk real quick?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, what else? I didn't know this, but Underdog has NFL season-long pick'em props.
Oh.
And there's a smart dude that does these things, and I'm tailing him. What do we think about this? I just did this one for
this is a long time to wait on the prop, but
but I love it because I don't know. So it's Adam Thielen lower than I took the lower side of 55.5 receptions. He's got Bryce Young
throwing to him. Yeah,
he's getting older. Whatever. David Njoku over 3.5 receiving touchdowns. I
like that. I like that with
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, yeah. And
then Amon-Ra St. Brown, who went off last year, higher than 1,050.5 receiving yards.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, this is a 5x entry here. You like it?
I don't mind that at all.
If anybody watching live on YouTube or after the fact, drop in your favorite Underdog prop play if you have one. If you're an NFL person, would love to see those. So anyway, there's a lot of fun stuff going on in Underdog for the NFL season. Obviously, they're also investing in the FedEx Cup playoffs, which is great to see. Click the link in the description. Code Junkies gets you the deposit match and eligible to get an additional $25 in credit given to you after Thursday gets going. All right, 7K range, Pat. Everything from Russell Henley down to one of these Aaron Rye fellas.
Aaron Rye.
Well, them Aaron Rise. Let's see what I have written down here. Well, let's talk about where we think the chalk is going to go. I think Poston.
I think Poston.
Quite cheap. I think
I-
Henley.
I agree. I think Henley.
I mean, Henley's odds are up there with like Fitzpatrick and Burns, aren't they?
They are. I think Straka is going to be a little bit chalky, to be honest.
I guess it depends on if people have caught on to the fact that like Straka is going to either miss a cut or contend to
win
or top 10.
But he finished what, second or third here last year?
Lost in the playoff to Zalatoris.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But I mean, coming off the miscut, right? Isn't he coming off a miscut? Let's see. Yeah, miscut at the 3M.
Yeah, but a
It's just
very
what
good
he does.
tournament. A very good tournament at the Open. So yeah, you're right. That's kind of what Straka does. That's his thing.
Yeah.
I think
This is probably a better course for him too than the 3M.
Yeah, it is.
He likes those precision courses off the tee.
I think Grillo could have some chalk.
I'm surprised you said that. I like Grillo. I kind of have him as like a in-betweener.
Yeah, but it feels like the way he's been
playing
playing.
well.
Yeah.
He's cheap.
So,
I mean, there's a number of names I think are potential. Harris English is cheap at 7K right there with Grillo. And, I mean, he finished 33rd at the Wyndham. I think that was despite the putting being a little subpar for Harris English. He gained strokes with his irons. He's a former winner here at TPC Southwind, I think, in 2014. I could see English getting a little love. I think Ben On could get a little love. I think Glover's going to get some love at 7,400. People feel less icky playing broomstick glove because the putter is just not so terrible. It's not Luke List terrible. So, where are the pivots?
Well, is Denny a pivot?
What is going to happen with Denny?
I don't know. But
what are people going to do with Denny? I mean, he's 2 missed cuts in a row, the Open and the Wyndham. The Open you can kind of get rid of. Like you can always kind of get rid of it. Let's take a look. Let's do a deep dive into his 2 rounds at the Wyndham. Let's see. So round 1, he finished 1 under, which I think was 1 off the cut, right?
Yeah.
Round 1, he was neutral off the tee, gained on around the green, gained putting, lost 3.10 shots in that 1 round. He shot 1 over round 1. Round 2, shot 2 under. Ball striking, you could argue, kind of stayed the same. Instead of neutral off the tee, he lost almost 2 shots off the tee. He only hit 8 of 14 fairways. He lost a shot on approach, so he improved that drastically. But I mean, hard to do worse than 3 shots on approach. Gained around the green and gained a lot. Gained like 3.6 with the putter. I mean, it's not awesome. Let's see. Let's look at a hole by hole breakdown. On round 1, there were no like blow up holes, but he had 5 bogeys. Just on that course, you just don't want 5. You don't want 5 bogeys.
No.
The approach play, let's see, number 7, whatever happened on number 7, that was a par 3. That was his tee shot on number 7, day 1. Lost him. He almost lost 2 shots on that 1 swing alone. 1.74 shots lost on approach on that 1 swing. That's where it'll get you.
Yeah.
Honestly, other than that, and actually too, off the tee on round 2 on number 17, he lost 1.88 off the tee in that 1 swing. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You're looking at, what is that? That's like over 3.5 shots on 2 swings.
Yeah.
3.5 shots, he's making the cut. Easy. He's at 4 under. If he does everything else the same, he's at 4 under and he makes the cut easy. Hello?
I've lost connection.
Oh dear. I still see you, but you're lagging. There you are.
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I still see you. You're still here.
Okay. All right. Well, I couldn't. All of a sudden, my screen went black. I was like, okay.
But yeah, I mean, lost
Yeah.
3.5 shots plus in 2 swings.
I mean, so that means play him.
It makes me a little more interested. Like
Yeah,
that's
I
the
agree.
deep dive. That's what sometimes we got to do. That's but I still think people love Denny so much. Like he's not going to get no love.
Yeah.
You said a guy, and we're kind of jumping all over the place here, but you mentioned a guy at the tail end of the betting show that I think could be a pivot. We'll see. And he's 7K. Taylor Moore is
Oh
interesting.
yeah, I like Taylor Moore a lot here. We saw him win at the Valspar, Bermuda course, difficult, a lot of trouble off the tee,
Mhm.
and very similar to this. So I think Taylor Moore and let's see, what'd you say? He shot 7 under the final round
Yeah.
last week. I feel like Taylor Moore has a lot of momentum coming into this week. One, like I said, one earlier in the year, so I do like him a lot, especially if he's a little bit low owned too. I still am a big fan of Cam Davis up here too at
Me too.
7,200.
I like Cam a lot.
Coming
Cam,
in with two straight top 10 finishes.
he's also 62nd in the Cup. He's
Yeah.
got to move up 12 spots.
Yep.
He's got to have a week.
Yeah, he does.
So I really like Cam Davis a lot. I think he gives you a lot of good scoring potential too. Another name you mentioned on the betting show that I'm not very interested at all in outright betting, but I did do some research between the betting show and here, and he did tell Jim Nantz this week that while he hated to not defend his title at the Wyndham, he was feeling better after his injury at the Open Championship and was basically resting up to make sure he could make the playoff run. Tom Kim at 7,800, who is starting to play really, really well again, and gets to a course that CPC Southwind's not a bad spot for him.
Yeah.
DFS, maybe the injury suppresses ownership a little bit. I would imagine if he's on deck for a press conference or two, that may change things. But if we kind of don't hear from Tom Kim, let me see. Let me check the sheet. So currently he is not on the sheet for press conferences to this week. So maybe if he says nothing, but we get a little word on the street that he's better, still feels fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we do know Joe Scovern is caddy.
Tom could definitely be one you fire in on if he is, and put him in a lineup at least, one or two, if you feel like he's going to be okay, just the way he's been playing. So.
Yeah. There's a couple other names in the 7K range. When you talk about playing players with high ceilings, possibly volatile, but you get a lot of upside when they get 4 rounds under their belt. Sahith Theegala, who's not playing well at all, and Siwoo, who's playing okay. Siwoo has played here twice, not in the last few years, not really done much. Sahith finished 13th here last year, but was seemingly hitting it much better. Let's take a look at Sahith. But anyway, thoughts on those two guys, because both can score.
Yeah, I mean, Sahith worries me a ton off the tee.
Yeah, he does me too.
He always does. But didn't he play pretty well here last year too?
Yeah, I just said he finished 13th.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed
now. So let's see.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just looking at. So his form coming in is worse than it was last year.
Yeah,
by a decent bit.
It felt like last year he was, because wasn't one of these tournaments recently like one of the tournament where he really should have won last year but didn't. I can't remember.
The Travelers. He was close on the track. It was the Travelers and the Genesis, right?
Yeah,
or not Genesis. Waste Management.
Yeah,
but the Travelers, he was runner up. I can't remember exactly what happened on that one, but yeah. And then he did okay at the Deer, and then he went cold, and then he did well at St. Jude. He gained 4.8 strokes between around the green and putting at the St. Jude. He actually gained strokes off the tee too, but lost strokes on approach. But the off the tee play lately has not been very good.
Yeah,
does worry me. But again, 4 rounds, no cut. Give me the scoring. I mean, he's interesting.
Okay. Yeah, with you.
Love the 7. I mean, 8K and 7K range to me is where like I said, I could see myself just maybe more planning some flags in the 8K and 7K, and then just playing whoever I want, regardless of ownership up top. I'll have enough leverage.
Yeah, I think you're right there for sure.
Anybody else you want to talk through in the 7K?
No, I think that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
good.
6K draft. Shall we?
Let's do it. Let's see if we can get. Well, we know we're going to get 6 of 6. Be the first
We
time
do.
this year.
Yeah, we do know that.
Yeah.
No, we've got 6 of 6 through on the 6K draft before.
We have.
One other time. Yeah, I think one time.
Okay.
All right, 6K draft. I am. Let's see. Do we go the popular route here? I don't know. You know what? I'm intrigued by Thomas Detry.
Okay. You know, I'm always kind of a sucker for Detry. There's
I'm
something about him.
I think Cole, Smalley, maybe Todd, gonna get lots of looks. Detry's playing good golf.
Yeah.
I'll go Detry.
All right.
I don't think you have to have a lot of experience here.
I agree. And you're right. Detry is playing really good. Two straight top 25 finishes. All right, I'll do this. I was gonna go Brendan Todd, who we could still put in here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this guy's been a little, he's kind of coming in under the radar and has been pretty good lately too, and good most of the year. Now we did make fun of him after the Masters, but Adam Svensson at 6,700.
I had Svensson written down as a possible play here too.
Yeah, top 10 last week. T37 at the 3.
Close. You know how every week when we do this, we start preparing for this. There's like the one guy you just see his name and your gut tells you something, and then sometimes you listen to your gut, sometimes you don't. And then you look at the numbers and you either do one thing or another. Last week I was looking at Svensson. Like, I think Svensson can have a good week. Thinking about like Bermuda, kind of his RSM win, all that stuff. And I just couldn't pull the trigger, and he finishes 7th. So now he'll probably suck. A couple popular names down in the 6,400 range. I like them both. I think Andrew Putnam's going to get a lot of attention for his record here, his solid play of late. Don't mind it, but I'll officially make the pick Adam Schenk. I think, T31 here last year, 64th last week, but we know a little bit about Adam Schenk's mindset going into last week. We know he was prepping for a big run at Memphis. I don't see. I mean, I think in terms of a guy down here who gives you real upside, Adam Schenk gives you real upside, even in this field. Like, I trust Adam Schenk to give me a top 5 or top 10 finish way more so than I do Andrew Putnam, even though Andrew Putnam's done it here twice. I get that. But, last year's 5th place finish, really impressive for Andrew Putnam in a Tour Championship caliber field with 125 guys.
Okay.
The other finishes, I don't know.
Yeah, I like Putnam.
We could go Putnam if you want. I mean, it's a good pick. I'm
just saying.
Okay.
I really want to go Ben Griffin, but I don't know if I want to go that cheap.
I don't want to do Ben Griffin. He can score. I just don't.
Do we look at Lee Hodges?
I was kind of looking at Lee.
I mean, Lee at 65 feels really good. He was so impressive in that win. And he's been good. It's not like that win was, I had been talking about him. It's not like it just showed up out of nowhere. I think we go Lee Hodges in here.
Lee Hodges. Okay. Yeah. I was kind of looking at it too. All right, so I got one more. You got one more. I'm going to go back. Again, just thinking upside, 4 days guaranteed. Pissed a lot of people off last week. I'm going back to Alex Smalley, 6,800.
Okay.
Maybe people are pissed. But I mean, we've seen some of his high finishes and what he can do.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to go I'm going to go with Mr. I make every single cut, and I came out of nowhere really at the beginning of the year, Eric Cole at 6,900.
Yeah.
So
I think in terms of popular plays, I think Putnam for sure. Shink may also be popular. I could see possibly the Todd father, possibly Cole. Those are some chalky plays. And again, 6K range similar to the 7K, 8K range. Like I don't know that in DFS it makes a ton of sense to play one of these guys if they're going to be uber chalky. And they probably won't be, but you could probably make a case to fade anyone here based on chalk for sure. So it's Detry, Svensson, Shink, Hodges, Smalley, and Cole. I would say that's a pretty good capture of my 6 favorite too. I mean, Putnam was in there, but just it does feel like, I don't know. Putnam just feels like what is Putnam? He just feels like the biggest. I don't know. What can I relate it to? He just feels so not memorable. Just not, or not like, not just, there's nothing. There's just nothing. It's just nothing. Like, he could be, he's like a thing in your, like, there's some things in my house. Like, there's things in my house that if my wife showed me a picture of those things, like maybe it's a decoration item, or a picture or something. If she just like out of context was like, is this, and showed me a picture of it, is this in our house? Yes or no? I would be like, no, absolutely not. It's literally hanging above like my mirror in the bathroom or something. Like, and I would have no effing clue it was there. That's Andrew Putnam. He's just one of those things that you have no idea if you actually even could pick it out of a lineup.
I kind of feel like that was when the last couple tournaments when Snedeker was in the field.
Yeah.
And I just had no clue. All of a sudden, like the first day he was up there on the leaderboard, I had no clue he was even in the field.
Yeah, but at least at one point, Snedeker was a guy. Like he was a guy.
Yeah. Well, Putnam's also got, because isn't there another Putnam?
Putnams?
Aren't there 2 Putnams?
Are you doing this to me right now? Is there really one that I don't know of and I can't remember?
Or maybe I get Putnam and no, maybe it's Putnam and there's somebody else I get confused with Putnam.
He's definitely one of those guys. He's one of those PGA Tour guys that you're like, okay, is he that one or is he that one? And it's just 2 square dudes.
Yeah. Maybe there's not 2 Putnams, but there's 2 Andrews or something like that. That just
there's 2 Andrews. Andrew Novak.
No.
Andrew Landry.
Ugh,
really? Andrew
Landry and Putnam always just kind of feel like the same to me.
Dude, there is one. That's one guy I've completely like just dumped from my memory is Andrew Landry.
Yeah,
I'll never need to know he exists again.
I know.
R.I.P. though. I mean, good run. He won that one event out of nowhere, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was Rory in that event? What the year the tournament Andrew Landry won? Did he? I feel like he like took down some stud, and everybody's like, "What the?"
He probably did. God, freaking Andrew Landry. Was that the? I don't know. Was that the American Express?
I think it was. Actually, that's a good call. That's a really good pull if that's right. I'm looking it up right now. Andrew Landry, won the Amex in 2020. Oh, believe it or not, also won the Valero Texas Open. I would have lost all my money if you just said how many wins does Andrew Landry have. I'd have said 1. That year at the Amex, he beat Abraham Anser, which is not the name I was thinking of, but he beat Scotty Scheffler. But that was before. That was before Scotty was Scotty, like really Scotty. He also beat your boy Bud Colley. Yeah. Anyway, Andrew Landry. Maybe it was the Valero. I feel like there was like. Let's see. Nope, that was definitely not the Valero. Nobody cool there. Okay. Anyway, that's enough talk at the end of this one. Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget the SoBet Masters giveaway. Get in that description and get it done. Join us on some best ball drafts on Underdog. Let's have a great week, and may your screens be green.